I fell asleep around 10, woke up around 11:30, just really violently sick and vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, and I mean, that is gastroparesis for you. On our adventure.
Ah, yeah, freezing cold here.
Good morning. I had a really rough night. This is where I spent most of it. In the bathroom by the toilet with the dog. It's just... I fell asleep around 10, woke up around 11:30, just really violently sick and vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, and eventually it settled down and I was able to push an IV Zofran through my port to help with the nausea, but it didn't work. It was just so severe, that vomiting spell. And eventually I managed to go back to sleep, but I was up again around 1 and then again around 3. And that third time, Judd had come home from work and he pushed an IV Zofran for me because I couldn't even get up off the floor. And finally after that I was able to go to sleep for the night. And I mean, that is gastroparesis for you. Sometimes it's really hard. I have like these nightly vomiting episodes like 2 or 3 times a week, but last night was way more severe than usual. And I did not even eat a thing yesterday. I had a few sips of water, so yeah. Sometimes you can do everything right, but everything can still go wrong because chronic illness isn't always fair. But it's alright, I'm just feeling pretty terrible, so I'm gonna try and get my nausea here under control a little more and then go back to bed. I'm feeling a little bit more alive. Part of my treatment for gastroparesis is doing infusions 3 times a week. Originally the infusions were started only for my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome to increase blood volume and help with fainting and things like that. But when my GP got a lot worse, we started mixing one of my infusion bags into banana bags, and that's extra vitamins and nutrients and minerals to help supplement whatever my feeding tube formula doesn't give me. And the fluids themselves help a lot with the dehydration that comes with all of the vomiting from my GP. And so because of the infusions and other things like IV Zofran and anti-nausea med I can administer through my port intravenously, we can manage my gastroparesis more at home now. I used to have to go to the hospital, but now most of the time we can handle it at home, and for that I'm really thankful. Alright, I pushed an IV Zofran, started my saline infusion. When that infusion bag's done, I will do my banana bag, and now I gotta take care of my feeding tube. My feeding tube pump is actually off, and I didn't get much nutrition last night at all. That's because when I'm having a lot of nausea and vomiting, the feeds can make it worse, so I had to turn it off to give myself a break. But hopefully when the Zofran really kicks in, then I can start it up at least a low rate. But I still need to flush my feeding tube, so I'm gonna do that now. By the way, when I'm like this, Harlow is always very close to me. You're like my furry shadow. I made it downstairs, and if you're wondering why I'm on the floor, well, this is why. She gets really clingy and concerned when I'm doing extra poorly, so I love my dog. Anyways, I called my doctor, and we think a big problem is that I'm not tolerating my feeds anymore, meaning this formula just doesn't work well for my body anymore. And when I first got my feeding tube about 2.5 months ago, the hospital was very particular about what formula they put me on, and this was the best option at the time. But I've been doing some research, and there's other types of formulas that aren't really offered everywhere. Only certain distributors have access to it, and some of them are like completely organic, no added preservatives, really wholesome ingredients. And this formula does give me a complete nutritious diet, but Some formulas are better than others, and some will be better for my body than others. So I was talking to my doctor about switching, and he's open to it, but he wants us both to do a little more research, which I'm totally okay with. It's just that I haven't been able to maintain my goal rate of 35 milliliters an hour, and since I don't really do any oral intake at all, I'm not getting enough nutrition, and that's not good. But if I try and bump up my rate to my goal rate, I just get unbearable symptoms of cramping and nausea and vomiting, and it's not good. The other thing is, well, if you're new here, I have a J-tube feeding tube, so it completely skips my stomach and goes to my jejunum for nutrition. Because of my GP, my stomach is the most problematic part of my digestive tract. It's partially paralyzed, and it just doesn't digest anything well, like at all. And this feeding tube doesn't have a G port. The new feeding tube I'm getting is a GJ button. It'll have the J port for nutrition and a G port to my stomach to allow me to vent and drain contents that are just sitting there because my stomach can't digest it. And it doesn't matter if I eat or not, because even if I don't eat, there's a lot of like pressure buildup and bile and acid that my stomach can't handle either. So that venting and draining option is going to be a really good tool in my treatment. And they found out they can overnight the GJ button, and they're ordering a few different sizes, so I leave with the right fit. And they got me in to change it on the 18th. And that's a lot sooner than we expected, but everyone feels so bad about what happened. They're working really hard to fix it, which is okay with me, and I'm also on top of them a bit. So between changing my formula and getting the new feeding tube, I think we'll be able to better manage my symptoms. Well, I managed to get my rate up to 15 milliliters an hour, but that's even making my nausea worse. But I need to get some nutrition in, and I have no idea if I'll be able to eat. Maybe I'll feel better later today, who knows? But I've decided, since I'm having such trouble eating, I'll make something that's really easy for me to eat, which is chicken noodle soup. So, doing it in the slow cooker. I don't have a recipe, it's just a bunch of stuff I throw together, but it should taste good. Well, I am gonna lay on this couch and relax, probably go back to sleep because I didn't sleep much at all last night. Harlow, get the blanket. Good girl. Get it. What are you doing? You choosing which one? Is it stuck? Get it, Har, get it. Get it. Oh, strong dog. Thank you for making me laugh. Come on. Thanks, Harlow. Good girl. Good girl. Well, I've been resting. I actually fell asleep on the couch for a very long time. Judd didn't even wake me up when he went to work. He knew I had a terrible night, so the rest was much needed. Judd is at work. By the way, he's back on 12-hour shifts, which we love. He's in the next part of his training where he is on the road with an experienced officer learning how to patrol, and he's a law enforcement officer, in case you are new or wondering. And so some days he's working, some days he's not, some days he'll be in the vlog, some days he won't. I made him spaghetti to eat when he gets home, and I have shredded up my chicken for my soup. I also cut up some noodles from Judd's spaghetti. He does not like soup at all, so that's why I made him another meal, but I like soup, hoping I'll feel well enough to eat it soon. I honestly feel like I need to sleep more, so I am going to, but first I need to mix up my banana bag because it is time. Ta-da! My banana bag is all ready to go. So these little vials have all of the extra nutrients I need, and I just got to connect the tubing, hook it up to the pump, and I'll be infusing. I am all hooked up to my banana bag, and with my feeds, I've been able to bump it up to 20 milliliters an hour. Well, I went from 15 to 18, then to 20. It's not feeling good, but it's at least somewhat tolerable, and I'm not vomiting anymore, so all of that is a reason to be thankful. I'm definitely going to keep resting now, though. I just woke up from the nap and I was like, it's nighttime? What year is it? You know, when you wake up from a nap and you're really disoriented. I mean, it's not really nighttime, it's just, it was dark enough that I had to turn on a light, and what woke me up was my infusion pump going off saying my infusion finished, so I was asleep for a while, but now I have got to get up and check on my soup, but most importantly, feed the dog. Are you hungry?
I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, it's not that late past dinner time, but I will feed you now. Harlow is enjoying her dinner, and the soup looks and smells pretty good. I only made a little bit because I'm gonna be the only one eating this. Judd doesn't like soup, and this is obviously not Harlow's food. And thankfully, I feel like I can have a small bowl of it. I was gonna sit on the couch, but someone had a different idea. Sorry, I will stay down here with you, Harlow, and got my soup here. It's, did you see her nose pop up? It's not for you. I have the smallest amount. I'm gonna take a quick bite. It tastes good, but I don't want to push it, so I'm gonna see how that bite goes. And this is my typical day with gastroparesis. Not eating or not eating much at all, not knowing if the safe food from one day is gonna trigger me the next day. Nausea, vomiting, bloating, stomach pain. But at the same time, fighting all of that with infusions and IV medications and a feeding tube, and the determination to know that even though I had a really particularly hard day with my GP, I can keep moving forward. And right now I'm just celebrating the fact that that one bite has gone well. I mean, it's kind of early to tell, but fingers crossed. Aha, I was able to eat it. That is a huge thing to celebrate. I'm so thankful right now for that. I'm not feeling great from eating that, but it's tolerable. So I'm hoping tonight will be an easier night than last night. And kind of fitting that I showed y'all a typical day of what it's like to have gastroparesis during Gastroparesis Awareness Month. That is August, it's GP Awareness Month. So I'm gonna do my best to advocate for gastroparesis this month and every month, of course, like I do for all my chronic illnesses and just chronic illness in general. Well, Harlow and I have moved our snuggle session to the bed. And I am just getting my new feeding bag with the new nutrition in. I change it every 24 hours. I do it before bed. And there's a lot of air in the line, so I have to prime it. So I just hold down the prime key and you can see it sucks the nutrition through. So I just wait for it to go all the way to the end and I hang it there at night. All right, I am all hooked up to my nutrition. Harlow's looking very cute and very sleepy. And thank you for watching, because you've helped me reach my goal of spreading awareness for what it truly means to live life with a chronic illness. And today in particular, it was for gastroparesis. And know that GP does affect everyone differently. This is my story, but somebody else with GP could be affected in a totally different way. You know, some people are better off, some people are worse off, but that's not the point. The point is that we're all in this fight together. So I'm gonna do my best to advocate and advocate and advocate. And with that, well, Harlow, any last remarks? No, just looking cute? All right, well with that, I will say goodnight and thanks for joining us on our adventure.